So this week I've kind of gone through the gauntlet, and I don't know. I wanted to try CDC decks, and I kind of liked where they were at, but the cards CDC, Whip, and Hornet Queen were just terrible, and it was all the other cards I wanted to play. I don't think there's actually cards that fill that gap there. And then I was going on to this four-color monstrosity, and then I just decided I should just play this deck. Um, so I guess the kind of basis here is that I came to the conclusion that you need a way to beat Outpost Siege, and the traditional Obzon controller mid-range decks just didn't really do that very well. Um, so in turn, the thing is that you can play answers like Utter End, but I've kind of like the more I think about it, the more I think that playing main deck removal like that is incompatible with beating the other half of the red-white deck, which is basically Goblin Rabble Master. So that's kind of an issue. So I came to the conclusion, and this is kind of based off a deck that Michael Majors, one of my teammates in the Next Pro Tour, posted. Really. I came to the conclusion that I really want to just attack them instead. So the Fleece main lines, as you can see, have moved from nowhere to the sideboard to the main deck now. There's Whisperwood Elementals and Mastery of the Unseen. Whisperwood is kind of your bulky threat to take out that deck, along with Tasker as a similar size one. But that's really for just like there's more manifests. You're better against Ugin, because that was the other card that concerned me. This list is not going to be perfect. I'll get to that in a little bit. Exactly how it's not perfect, but like you can see, I've cut down on like a lot of the spot removal and read the bones in favor of just being a bit more aggressive with what I'm doing with the deck. So here's the questions I currently have for the main deck, and I actually just kind of want to point out how I've laid it out. Is you have your generically good threats that are just kind of there and do their job against whatever you face against. You can play all roles. You have your answers, your card advantage, and then your more resilient, more expensive threats. These numbers are kind of they line up pretty well with what I played at the Pro Tour and what the list originally started with here. Not necessarily what the control deck had, but that deck was more removal because that was a metagame that called for it. So I just kind of looking at the numbers, I like where it's at. I'm not sure if the 26th land is necessary, but it probably is. It's possible the 26th land is, I don't even know what it'd be better off as, like a Read the Bones. Maybe that's what it should be, like 25 lands and a Read the Bones. That actually sounds better. And like I said, this is, I don't want to say like a quick, this is me trying a bunch of things to see where they fit. And like this is really like this test run for whether this aggressive Fleecebane Whisperwood plan is actually good enough. So like I only have 3 Thoughtseize. I think that's fine. I don't really want to draw multiples of that card. In a lot of matchups, even though the card's really good, and it's probably wrong to not be playing 4. I just don't want to draw multiples ever. I thought there was another copy in the sideboard, but it must have disappeared mysteriously when I was cutting cards to try and fit in everything I felt I needed. I feel like I do want another downfall in the main, but that currently is an Utter End slot, and there's an End Hostilities as the 4th way to kill a Stormbreath Dragon. But I think that this might not be as necessary as I think it is. But we'll see. Like again, the control decks had more, and there is like the Hostilities Fleecebane pseudo combo, and Whisperwood does some work along those lines, but I could see that being wrong. Like the things. So, anyways, I'll just kind of go through each row, I guess. I could see a second Tassiger because there's no main deck Murderous Cut. And I don't know which one of those is a better payoff. But I have a feeling it's Tassiger is a bit better payoff. But again, I don't really know where I'm shifting numbers around to do that. I really want another Hero's Downfall, and I could see really wanting another Thoughtseize just being wrong. But I don't want to go up on answers too high, otherwise you can kind of stumble against Outpost Siege or just the blue-black decks in general. You need to keep your deck reasonably lean. It's possible this Utter End to try and hedge against Outpost Siege is just nonsense and shouldn't be there. But I did want a 4th effect of that kind, and it's possible that killing Stormbreath Dragon is more important than killing Outpost Siege. I guess End Hostilities does that, and I'm going around in circles for a second here. I could also see... Yeah, I think that Read the Bones over the 26th land is the big one, but again, this is a standard daily that starts in 4 minutes and is already capped, so I'm not going to be able to get that in. And I might be hedging a little too much. Like, I guess the main deck Mastery might be excessive against Bug, but I kind of just want one as a breaker going late. So yeah, I guess the note on the main deck is figure out how to fit in this Hero's Downfall. Anyways, moving to the sideboard. This is now basically two categories. You have your bring your threat and grindy meter up, and your answer-specific threats, usually aggro things, but occasionally, well, this is also aggro things because it's Chained and Outpost Siege. I definitely want the second Wrath effect in the board. I definitely want another Murderous Cut style card in the board, and that's, traditionally the best one to board in because it just gives you these really efficient mid-game turns where you get to, play a removal spell and play the Murderous Cut or whatever. It just curves out really nicely to bring you back into games, or sort of, not necessarily bring you back, but stabilize and give your opponent less of a positioning advantage, at which point they usually just start losing. Erase, I debated the other options. I still have this fear of needing to kill a Jeskai Ascendancy or something similar, but it's possible that Reclamation Sage is a better option, or something more expensive like another Utter End. This might be where the Utter End comes in to play, giving you more flexible options. There's definitely times where you want to kill other things with it. 3 Read the Bones. If I move one to the main, that's a good way to free up a sideboard slot. I like that a lot. And I kind of felt like 3 was excessive just looking at the cards here. Second Tassiger, just another efficient threat. And I really don't feel like you could show up playing this deck without 2 in the 75. Ugin is your trump for the Pseudo Mirror, and just more masteries. I was talking to Matt McCullough about this, and he made a point that the second mastery is bad, and you don't really want to shove all in on those because of the really heavy Sultai charms in the Sultai control deck. So I think that one of those should become a Nisa. But we're going to play this as is tonight, and we'll see how it goes.